So I'm going to show you the best way to change the strings on your acoustic guitar. These are my favorite methods and I hope they help you. And yes, I am recording this in my kitchen. My kitchen has the best table for changing strings on my guitar, probably because it's at the perfect height. So yes, I do bring my guitar in my kitchen. Which leads me to my first step in changing your strings. Find a nice flat surface in your house, preferably one that you can stand at. And step 2 is a lot like a cooking video. Kind of like gathering your ingredients, you gather all of your tools. So first tool is your guitar. I'm going to be changing the strings on my Jasmine Takamine today. The next thing you want, of course, is your pack of strings. And the next thing that you want is a tool to pull out the pegs in your guitar and to clip the strings themselves. Now I have this tool that's kind of like a 3-in-1 type of tool. Right here is the tool that removes the pegs out of the bridge on your guitar. It also has a set of clippers, and it also has the tuning peg winder. Now you don't really need one of these, it's just kind of a commodity, but it's really nice to use. It saves you on time, so that's nice. For a long time I just used a pair of needle nose pliers and that worked perfect for me, so that's really all that you need. One more tool that you can use, it's not necessary, but one thing that I like to use is something to put under the neck of my guitar. I just found a nice little Amazon box in our house. This is the perfect height to kind of hold my guitar up so that I'm not tilting it too much and hitting the table with the headstock on the guitar. So I'm just gonna put it under the neck and we're good to go. Alright, so I'm gonna walk you through each step here. First thing we do is we detune the guitar. Now you want to detune the strings just enough that you can pull them right off the tuning pegs. Just like this. Well, you might have to give them a little bit of a twist to pull them off, but you get my point. You have to be careful with the B string and the E string not to poke yourself. They're really thin and they can pierce your skin pretty easily. A lot of times I just pull my clippers out and I use those to pull them out of the pegs. I just get it around there and pull it pretty hard. Easy. Ouch. It didn't get me, we're good.
You have to be careful.
Alright, the next step is to take the pegs out of the bridge here. Now, you may not be able to see it, but in the past I have used my needle nose pliers to grab each peg and pull it out. Now, I can tell you from first-hand experience, you don't want to do that. It ruins these pegs. They're really messed up. I mean, it's probably hard to see. Each one of these is kind of deformed. But if you don't have a tool like this, then that may be necessary. Yeah, these pegs are stupid. Oh my goodness, this is so much easier. I guess the only thing I would say with this is if you're using needle nose pliers, just be careful not to squeeze too hard. Make sure you get it the first try. These tuning pegs are way down deep in there, so. I just usually bind them up like this and then they're good to go in the trash. Alright, the next step is you want to clean your fretboard. For a long time I was using just paper towel. But recently I got this lint-free cloth. I got some lemon oil. Now this stuff is awesome. So if you can get one of these, I'd recommend it. And it says to spray it on the cloth instead of on the fretboard, so 2 sprays is good. Oh my gosh, it's so dirty. And now it's time to put the new strings on. Now you can usually tell by looking at them which string is the largest and which one's the smallest, and you can go that way. But each pack of strings has a guide, either on the wrapping paper or on the package itself, of which strings to put where. Now this is what the bottom of the string looks like. You just put that in the peg hole and you push the peg down. Just give it a nice little pressure with your thumb and it should be good. That's all you really need. You take the other end, you put it through the hole of the tuning peg, you pull it through. Now I'm going to show you up close something that I like to do. Now this is the trick here that I learned. So right here, I have this in the first slot on the nut right here, which is what you want. And one thing that I like to do to make sure that this wraps around this tuning peg enough times is I take the string And I find on the string where it lines up with the tuning peg right above it. And that is where I'll bend the string. Check this out. Just like that. And then you just pull it like that. That way it has a little bit of slack. And that's all the slack that you need. And then what you do is you hold one finger down right on the headstock right here. And then you tighten. The reason that you do this is so that the string, this part of the string right here, goes over the other part of the string each time that you wrap it around. And usually what I do is I twist this about one rotation, and then I pull the string up on this side and I bend it up so that it's out of the way of any of my other strings. And so that it goes over this part of the string every time. And that's how you do it. And that's the way it should look right there. But you just do that with every string. Oh, another thing that I forgot to mention is that if you push down on the peg right here and then pull the string up, it'll get rid of the slack of the string that's in the tuning peg. So that's important to do. Then once you get up to this string and then this string, you can bend it here at the end of the headstock, or you can kind of guess the distance between where the next peg would be. So about that distance. So I would probably bend it right about here. If that makes sense. You do that with this string and this string. And I think I would be amazed if I threw my harsh words away. Can we listen? One thing I almost forgot to mention is that your tuning pegs kind of have little divots in them, and that's where your strings should go. That should be obvious, but I figured I'd say it. So what I do is I use the divot side on these tuning pegs and I face them towards the neck, if that makes sense. That way the string lays itself in there. And then once you get up to these treble strings, the B string and the E string, it's not super important to bend the string all the way up here. Instead, you can go about half the distance to the next tuning peg. So I'm gonna go ahead and bend it right about here, if that makes sense. Just right about there, that's all you need. Being defensive. And I think you would be amazed. As we speak, can we learn to communicate? Okay, and then the last thing you do is you just clip off the ends of the strings. And then once you're tuned up, you're good to go.